Improvisation Intermediate Level 2, lesson number 9. And in this lesson, you're going to learn B-flat scale as well as playing some reading exercises in the key of B-flat. On those reading exercises, the video, you'll find out I left off some fingerings from your material. So on the video, I'm going to give you a chance to write those fingerings in. You might need to pause your video and look at it. Otherwise, you can just figure out those fingerings from watching the video. I hope you have a good time with that. I think that the biggest thing I want you to remember is go slower than I go on the video. I always go faster on the video because we don't want to kill too much time with those. You can go 10 times slower if you need to, and I hope you have a good time while you do it. All right, so the first thing, as usual, on your list today for the lesson 9 is the scale, arpeggio, cadence, and burlesque, but there's a new scale today. The B-flat scale has been added, so I want to show you how to do a B-flat scale. We're focusing on that because our reading exercises are in the key of B-flat. You're going to have a new fingering on this one that you haven't had on any of the other scales before. I call it the alternating third and fourth because there's two black notes. There's a B-flat and an E-flat, and all you have to do to learn this is alternate your third and fourth finger on the hand that's going towards the thumb. Now they're both alternating third and fourth on the black notes, but it's too hard to think of which one does it when. So I like to focus on just one of the hands, the hand going towards the thumb. So on the way up, you focus on the left hand alternating 3 and 4. Like this, 3, 4. And on the coming down scale, the descending scale, right hand focus on alternating 4 and 3, 4. 3. Okay, so does that make sense? If you do that, then the other hand, the one that's not focused on alternating, all you have to do is stick your thumb after the black note. So at first, the best way to think of it is 3 over here, followed by a thumb over here. This hand can start with whatever finger you want. I just start with a second or a third, okay? But then it gets into a pattern automatically if you just put the thumb after the black notes. So watch closely. I'm going to alternate 3 and 4 in this hand and put the thumb after the black note in this hand. So 3, thumb, 4, thumb, 3, thumb, 4, thumb. And then at the top, I can just use the second finger here for the turnaround. Right hand's going to start alternating 4 and 3, while the left hand just puts the thumb after the black note. So you go 4 here, thumb, 3, thumb, 4, thumb, 3, thumb. And that's how you do it. I'm going to go ahead and turn the metronome on to 100, and we're going to just do the usual routine. You won't get up to 100 for a while yet. You got to get used to that fingering, but once you do, it sounds like this. Now the arpeggios. 4 chord. 5 chord, all white notes. 5/7. 'Now the cadence. Now the walking octaves. And that was your scales, arpeggios, cadence, and burlesque in the key of B flat. Good luck with that. All right. So now let's go ahead and at 100, we'll go ahead and do your new scale, the B flat scale, with the fourth fingers on the B flats, and on the black notes. And then I'll go ahead and move up a half a step and we'll do the B major scale. Okay, so we have one with just 2 black notes and then one with 5 black notes. This is the B flat major scale. The key of B. And that's just 2 of the scales, and of course you can do as many as you want. You can do them in the order I have them listed here, or you can just pick and choose like I did, or you can go up in half steps. Either way, doing your octave scales is really good for your piano skills. All right, so today on lesson 9, I'm going to move the metronome up to 112 for our major triads, and here's what they sound like. Now we'll do the minors. That's it. And I want to remind you, though, that you do not need to go as fast as I go on the videos. Just these are challenges for people who want to get up to that speed. You can go as slow as you need to, but just doing them each day makes you really good at them. So, good luck with that. Okay, so your first reading exercise in the key of B flat, I have to apologize for. I have a few mistakes that I made on your materials that we're going to have to fix. Actually, they're not mistakes. I left out the fingerings and the pedalings. So what I've done is I've written them in with my hand, and I want to, hopefully I'll put these up close enough to the camera you can see them. If you want to pause the video right now and write in your own fingerings, you can do that, or you can do it as we go along. But there it is. So I wrote the pedaling in by hand just now, and I did the fingerings just now so that you can have them. And you can, of course, learn them as we go, too. So let's do our usual. These are just some rolling chords from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and turn the metronome on a nice, slow, eventually this goes to 108, but let's slow it down to like 69 to learn them. And you can watch the fingerings. My right hand 5th finger starts, and it's just a rolling B flat chord, so the 1 chord to start with, and the pedal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. Okay, so now that's the first line plus the first note of the next line. I didn't mark it because it's kind of obvious, 5 at the beginning of the next one. Now the left hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and change pedal, 2 and 3 and change and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Okay, so now that's the left hand. When you put them together, sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. Okay, you might notice that I put the little marcato lines or tenuto markings, those little lines above the first note, so bring that out a little bit. Okay, now once you've got 3 perfect on the first line, here's the second line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 3rd finger. Okay, that's the right hand. Now the left hand. 1 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2. I think I should write, I didn't write in this fingering here for you. On the end of the second line, the left hand should use a 1 and a 2 and a 4. If you watch the video, that's what I did right there. Okay, so now we're ready for both hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1. And of course, once you get that 3 perfect, put those 2 lines together. I'm going to go ahead and do the third line with all that extra fingering that I had to write in there. Your third finger's on F right hand. Now it starts to stretch out a little bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, and this jump 1. Okay, there's the right hand part, then the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3. Oh no, that's an A natural. Sorry about that. 1 and 2 and 3 and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Right? So now there's the left hand with that goof in it. You can do it without the goof. Now both hands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1. All right? And of course, once you get that 3 perfect, put them all together. This is a time to remind you, I realize I'm going very fast. You'll probably not be going 69 when you start this, probably down in the 40s or 50s. But eventually you'll get it there. Now, let's do the bottom line. Right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. And then in the left hand, I wrote the fingering in here for you. I forgot to do that. Now I think I've got it written in. So left hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. Now both hands. And I also realized something here just now. I'm going to stop this so you can change it. The way it just sounded with the pedal change at the end, I didn't like that. So I'm going to erase that pedal change and just make it one smooth pedal from there to the end. It works out nicely because it's all the same chord. So we'll just hold the pedal through there. I'm going to go ahead and play now both hands. 1 and 2 and what happened? Okay, there we go. Sorry. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3 off. Okay. Now we've done every line. Hopefully you've got all those fingerings and pedalings figured out. You've done every one 3 perfect. Let's put the whole thing together as 69. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 Now I'm going to move it up to the 108 so you can hear what it sounds like if you make it all the way up to the top speed suggested, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 All right, so there it is. B flat butterflies. I hope you have a lot of fun. All right, so your second reading exercise in the key of B flat is classical slice. And what I'm going to do right now is go through all the little, I goofed on the fingerings a little bit on this one too. Not as extensively as I did on the butterflies piece, but I just want you to look at the fifth measure, beat 2, right hand. I just forgot to put a little number 1 finger in there. That might help you. And then at the very end, in the left hand and the right hand, I change the fingering a bit. I cross out the number 3 and put a 2 there. I cross out the number 3 and put a 5 there in the left hand part. So you can go in and fix those. I also added a staccato. Hopefully you can get those changed and we can work on this together. I'm going to go ahead and put the metronome at a nice, what I consider to be fairly slow. You should go a lot slower when you're first learning it. But if I put the 8th note at 72, that means you're going to count your 16th like this. The 16th notes are the ones you're going to want to count for the left hand. So this is 1 E and a 2 E and a. That's how slow we're going to go, and you should probably go a lot slower. I'll do the right hand by itself. Notice there's some finger switching going on the very first note in the right hand. It's a B flat, B flat, B flat, but 3 different fingers. So that's a common thing that happens. It helps you move your hand. So hopefully you can do that without looking down at your hand. I'm going to count the E and A's all the way through. 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. Okay, that's the right hand part. Hopefully you notice the finger switching going on there. Now the left hand is just playing a B flat chord in what we call the Alberti bass style. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, nice and soft. 4 E. Now switch to the 4 chord, E and a, 2 E, and back to the 1 chord, E and a, 4 E and a, stop. Okay, so this is pretty fast for somebody who's brand new at this. You'll want to go a lot slower than this. Obviously, we're saving time on the video, so we're not going to go that slow. 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. Okay, that is the first line, first 2 measures, and then we're going to go ahead and do this one, right hand by itself. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E, the 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 4. Right hand by itself. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3. Cut. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 4 E and a, 1 and a, 2. Ah! 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1. My eyes can't see this. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 and a, 4 and 1 and. Now I had some issue counting this thing right here. Let me show you how you should count this. I'll put the 4th finger here. It goes 3 and a, 3 E and a, 4 and. Okay, did you catch that? I'll do that again. 3 E and a, 4 and. Right. I should have practiced that before the video. Right now, hopefully you understand the right hand. Now let's do the left hand. It's doing more Alberti bass. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4. Then it moves up to a C chord. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. Okay, now I'll put them together. 1 E, oops, sorry. 5/7 chord. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 and a, 2 E and a, 3 both. 1 and 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2. Ah! Well, I kind of counted that messy, but hopefully you understand it. You get your 3 perfects there, put those together. Let's go to the third line. Right hand, third finger on B flat. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, the 1. So hopefully you notice it's all exactly the same as the first line, except for the fingering at the end, okay? So now you get that learned. The left hand does 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. Switching to the 4 chord, E and a 2 E and back to the 1 chord, 4 E and a stop. Okay, now both hands on that third line. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, the 1. And then of course once you get your 3 perfect there, put those all together. I'm going to go ahead and do the last line, right hand by itself. This is 1 E and a 2 and a 1. Cut. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. All right. Cut. Do that again. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and then I just realized, I think I had told you before that I would add a staccato here on the 4th beat, but we are not going to add that staccato, so I had not goofed on that. We'll erase that. So that's for the left hand part, which we're about to do. Left hand, E, oh, 4 chord. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E and a 4. Okay, now both hands. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Oh, I did that staccato that I should not have. It should go like this at the end. All right, that sounds better. So once you get that bottom line learned, put the whole piece together. And here's what it sounds like at 72, if I can make it through. That was at 72. If you ever try to get it all the way up to 104, this is what it might sound like. If I can get through it, we'll find out, right? Here we go. That wasn't too bad, just 1 or 2 oopses in there. So that is classical slice in B flat. Have fun with that. All right, so For lesson 9's work on Allegro scherzando, we're going to start at measure 17. You're going to review on your own all the previous phrases, the same way you did when you first learned them. You keep working on them like that. We're going to work on measure 17 all the way up through on the second page, all the way up through measure 26. So the top line, the bottom line of the first page and the top line of the second page will go 2 measures and 4 measures at a time. Though there is a 6 measure phrase on the top of the second page, which we'll deal with. But first, let's do the first line that we're working on, the bottom line of first page, 17. Measure 17 with our pickup note. Your pinky is on F right hand, and we're going to go and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1. And you do that over and over until you get it memorized. Then the left hand has a 5 and a 2, and we're going to count this 1 and 2, and then connect it 1 and off on 2 and 1. Okay, and of course you're going to notice that both times that the right hand will be staccatoing while the left hand holds on both of those. So here's the trick to it with both hands. Once you get them both memorized, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. And once, of course, you have that memorized, the next 2 measures. Right hand by itself, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. And that's the right hand part. Then the left hand, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. So that's easy. Once you have that memorized, both hands go like this, and 1. Now that once you have that memorized, the whole line together sounds like this with a stop. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, and then of course once you've done it with the stop, take the stop out and do 3 perfects. And 1 and 2 and 1. Once you get your 3 perfects there, you're ready to move on to the next line, which is the top of the second page, measure 21. I'm going to do the pickup note, right hand, second finger on C, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1. And that's far enough on that one. Then the left hand is just doing the C chord like this. It's a C chord broken into 2 parts. So, and 1 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 1. I said it wrong, but you understand. Now both hands, it goes like this. Okay, and then of course once you get that memorized, which shouldn't be too hard, do the next 2 measures the same way. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. You'll notice that I switch to a 3rd finger on the beginning of the next 2 measures. Left hand is still doing the same thing. And 2 and 1. All right, so now both hands like this. And, oops, sorry. Yep. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead real quick ones and put these 2 together with a stop before I add the other 2 measures. We're going to do a 6 measure phrase, but let's review the first 4. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Stop. Now from there, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, that's just to review those 2. Now we'll do the last 2. The left hand doesn't even play, so we'll do just the right hand. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay. Of course, at the end of that, the left hand does come in. This is like the beginning of the piece again, the very first phrase. So you can have your left hand ready with these 2 notes. And here's how those 2 measures sound together. And 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so now of course you get 3 perfect there. Then when you put this whole line together, let's put a stop on each 2 measures the first time. And 1 and 2 and 1 and stop. Now from there, Okay, now once you've done that with a stop, notice I've got this whole 6 measures with the stops just now. Now we're going to do it all the way through. You would do it till you get 3 perfects. And 1, and 2, 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 and 1. And then off you go. You already know that next phrase. So once you get that phrase learned, put those two together, the bottom of the first page and the top of the second page. Let me play through those. So as you see, you know the whole next phrase already. So, of course, once you've done what we did today on today's lesson, you have the bottom of the first page, the top of the second page. You're ready to play it from the beginning all the way. But I would do a lot of review on all the phrases you already know first, and then you can play through it for fun, which sounds like this. Okay, and then, of course, brand new material that we haven't learned yet. So hopefully you're having a lot of fun with this piece. See you next time.